this country and round the planet.
Senator, if Mr Turnbull is so astute now, why did the Greens vote against the deal he did with the government in 2009?
Because it locked in a target of 5%, which could not be altered between now and then without compensating the big polluters. Now, Sid, the Australian has a position of opposing such action. My question to you is, why is that?
Well, as they said the other day, when you're on this side, you ask the questions.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering why the hate media, it's got a negative front page from top to bottom today, can't be more responsible and constructive. Let me finish. I'm just asking you why you can't be more constructive.
Aren't you just deflecting the fact that you guys voted against this deal in 2009?
No, I've answered your question. Your commentary, I'll expect to see again in tomorrow's paper.
Just quickly on another topic, the forestry deal in Tasmania looks like it's going to fall over. Have you got a message to the groups involved down there, including the Wilderness Society?
Yeah, the Wilderness Society has taken a courageous stand against inaction by the Giddings government, and this is a great opportunity. It's a fabulous opportunity for Australia to aim for a 25 to 40% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, and in a shorter timeline by 2020. This is the maturity of the debate in Australia is very much under question, and the Murdoch media has a great deal of responsibility to take for debasing that maturity, which is informed by scientific opinion gathered from right around the world. The Cameron government is taking that adequately, looking after the rest of the economy.
Senator, there's an empty chair in the MPCCC.
To an emissions trading scheme. What's the Greens' positions on that? Because my understanding as it's originally been announced is that there's a framework, there'll be a framework in the legislation to move somewhere between 3 to 5 years. But from the Greens' perspective, what would need to be in place for you to be happy to move towards an emissions trading scheme?
Well, the framework speaks for itself. That was announced as part of the committee's deliberations, and we're working with that framework now to put to come to an agreement in this nation's interest in the coming 6 or 8 weeks.
Sort of sledging the Australian. Given that some commentators have said the deal that the government has cut with Malaysia was worse than what happened under John Howard with the treatment of asylum seekers, how does the Greens justify to its membership propping up the government?
Very intelligently, and if you are advocating, what's your name? Andrew. Andrew, if you're advocating from the West Australian that the Greens should be supporting Tony Abbott, I look forward to your rationale in the West Australian.
No, I'm not advocating that.
Well, you are. That's the alternative.
No, I'm advocating why are you supporting the government when people say this is worse than what John Howard did to us.
Well, I'm putting to you because we don't like the look of what Tony Abbott's putting forward. And if you've got an argument as to why we should be supporting the Abbott alternative, I'll read it in the West Australian.
Can you offer a guarantee that to voters that the carbon tax would move to an emissions trading scheme within 5 years?
We'll all know about that on about July the 1st, when the outcome becomes apparent after we've reached agreement with the independents and the government.
Sure, but like voters have a reasonable expectation
and they will
that you would.
You're impatient, but
no,
this committee is set up
for
us to reach agreement.
Answer questions, and it's a very simple question. And I'm asking you about your operating position in terms of your negotiations as the leader of the Greens. What is the Greens' position on the time frame?
It's to get the best time frame possible out of this agreement, which we'll announce down the line.
Why can't you just answer the question?
Because we have a process of negotiation underway, which you want to abort, and we're not going to do
I
it.
don't want to abort it. I
Yes,
just
you
want
do.
you to
want
answer
the
a
answer at
question.
the outcome.
I don't
now.
want the outcome. I want you to say what is the Greens' position on the time frame of moving from a carbon tax to an emissions trading scheme.
It is that we will negotiate the best outcome we can with the independents and Labor on that.
Isn't it the truth that you don't get a say in that?
No, it's not a truth. You want to cut across it in the meantime.
Bob, can I just ask, in the course of this news conference, you've called the News Limited journos the hate media.
Yes.
You've taken personal issue with reporting by reporters at this conference. Is this a change in tactic? Are you on the front foot in a way, in a more...
Yes, I'm being very much on the front foot here because I think the media, with some very good exceptions, can at times lose track of the fact that it's part of the process of moving Australia into a much more secure future with a more secure lifestyle, economy and job creation prospects. And I'm continually and have all my political life been questioned about that. But I'm not wanting to see just the heat put on this country and its future. Some heat needs to go back onto those sections of the media which are trying to drag this process down. And that's very clear, that's what's happening. You look at the front page of some of the papers today and the commentary on this process, and it's not balanced, it is opinionated, it's not news in terms of having both sides of a story. It's not what you would read in other countries around the world, and I think that needs taking on. It's a very, yes, the Australian.
Name a specific paragraph on today's front page. Name me a paragraph.
Well, let's look at,
Quite seriously.
yeah, where's the headline about the Cameron government's breakthrough on the front page? It's target. That is globally important news in this discussion.
That was actually reported on the front page of the newspaper.
Yeah, buried in the story. Look, I'm not going to get into, but look, you have your snappies every day. You compare and contrast and take on politicians and other sections of the media, but you don't like it when we take you on. Don't be so tetchy. Just measure up to your own rules. We're all mature and able to not just debate the outcome of political decision making, but the processes. And I will take that on if I think it's damaging Australia's interests, and I think it is at the moment.
But the old conventional wisdom was don't take on journalism because they buy ink by the ton.
Yes, that's right.
Is that a battle that you think is...
I think it's very essential to take that on at the moment, because I think the Murdoch media is doing a great disservice to this nation in perhaps the most important debate of the century so far, which is how we tackle climate change. And its negativity and its scepticism does need to be tackled, because we need news in our papers, but we're getting opinion far too much, and that needs to be debated, and nobody needs to get upset about it. But we're a free and open country, and let's have a debate about it. Let's have no topic put on the side for fear that it might be you might get clouded around the head politically about it. That's not what we're here for. We're here to get the best outcome we can for this nation, and I'm determined on that.
Because you hold that view, do you equally think that when someone politely asks you, reasonable questions in terms of, the question I asked you about the transition from the carbon tax to emissions trading scheme, that you don't have to answer it? Because you hold that view?
but what I said to you is that it's built into the process. We do have that transition as part of the deliberations of the committee. What I can't tell you is what the outcome from the committee is going to be. The Greens are in favour of a transition to a trading scheme. That's part of the parameters of this committee. Well, I don't have a timetable for that. I would. Well, let me go back to it. It's about 2000, the year 2000. We should have been had a trading scheme up and going then.
What's your time frame now?
Well, that was my preferred timetable. You're wanting me to preempt a committee outcome, and you know, you'll convert that. You'll go to Labor, and then you'll go to somebody else. We are discussing that maturely, and I'll give you the answer to the committee's outcomes, along with the Prime Minister and the Independents and Christine Milne, in a few weeks' time.
Have you taken any concerns about media representations to the Press Council?
On occasions, yes, yes,
But
yes, and one.
How about the editors of those
So-
papers?
I'm sorry.
Have you raised those concerns with the editors?
Look, from time to time, but look, I'm here as a representative of 1.5 million voters in Australia, and my job is to get outcomes. If I was to take on the media every day about some peccadillo,
But you
of
virtually
the,
do. You come out here every day and you do take it on the media.
Oh,
The
look.
media that you don't like.
Look, don't get too upset. This is just part of the democratic discourse.
Really?
Yeah, yes it is. Fair dinkum. Don't be so unhappy. Don't be so much on the back foot.
I'm not unhappy.
Oh, I
you
misread
just
you.
come out here every day and you just bag out the Murdoch press or
Yeah,
any
okay.
media that you don't like,
But-
and you call them the hate
But
press.
the Murdoch press comes out every day and bags out the Greens. Why one rule for you and not one for the others? Come on, be happy
But
about it.
you're suggesting.
But
But even
we're
on the
getting
carbon
into
tax issue, you're suggesting that don't you think we're just reflecting what a lot our audience or wants? And
Well, if you are, be proud and
mean-
stand by it. Don't be defensive.
well, I'm not being defensive.
It sounds to me like you are.
Well, most polls would suggest that people don't want the carbon tax and that you are on the wrong foot on this issue.
Well, look, let me
And
tell you.
across the media, not just the Murdoch press.
The Greens vote's growing faster than the Murdoch media circulation. I'm happy. I'm just taking you on, and I will do so. And you know, I know there's an inherent penalty clause there, but I've got broad shoulders. I'm prepared to take that on.
Just on the importance of the climate debate and everything like that, if you do get this, will this be your crowning achievement in politics? And if it is, will you look at maybe retiring and leaving politics?
Look, I have retirement to consider, and I've got a role model there, and it's Mr. Murdoch. He's just had his 80th birthday, and he's not considering it yet. My 80th birthday comes up in 2024, and I might beat him to it and start considering it about then. But I'm watching him closely in the retirement
So you're not going to
stakes.
pull the pin at the end of this year?
I'm watching Mr. Murdoch. Is he going to pull the pin at the end of this year? Can you tell me that?
Don't know.
But why are you so obsessed with this? With this
Obsessed
whole
with what?
issue? I don't understand why you're so obsessed with it.
Well, that's an opinion, you see. You're now asking me a question based on a very loaded opinion. I'm not obsessed with it.
You are.
Oh, thank you.
You
Well, there
virtually
you go.
come out here every day and bag out the Murdoch press or anyone that you don't like.
Well, you know, you're taking it badly. But keep smiling. That's the important thing. This is a very healthy debate. And,
Well, according to you, it isn't. You don't think it's a healthy debate at all.
well, I think it's
Because you think it's
fantastic.
one-sided.
J'accuse, you know. You're getting very accusatory there because I've simply turned some questions onto you. Fragile, I'd say, very fragile. But there'll be more of it. So get used to it. Thanks, everybody.
So that was a pretty enlightening press conference there. That was the Greens leader, Bob Brown, live from Canberra. And there seems to be increasing friction in those press conferences between Bob Brown and the Canberra press pack, particularly between the Murdoch media and Bob Brown over the carbon tax. He started off talking about the importance of a Senate inquiry that's sitting right now on the future of the koala. He says the koala's in very serious trouble, with 100,000 odd koalas left in Australia suffering from either an HIV-type virus or chlamydia. And this Senate inquiry is a bit of a first in terms of bringing all the information together so something can be done to try to map out a viable future for the animal. That's how that press conference started. It went for quite some time, but I'm sure you'll agree it was an interesting insight into the relationship between the politicians and the media in Canberra at the moment, and particularly a lot of heat in this carbon tax issue. Bob Brown also had a bit to say about Malcolm Turnbull's latest comments on coalition climate change policy. He's reiterated his criticism of the coalition strategy. He says the advantage of the opposition's direct action policy